Hello, this is Julia. Thank you so much for joining me today. I hope you're doing well. I was in desperate need of some birthday cards, so I made this trio of cards with the Simply Celebrate critters from Fawn. First, I die cut the happy birthday or the giant happy birthday 3 times for each card out of white cardstock, and then just ink blended the top layer. I decided to make a trio of cards and just vary the colors so that they all look a little bit different. So for the teal combination, I'm using salvaged patina and peacock feathers. Just adding a little bit of variation at the bottom of the letters with the peacock feathers. I used the same color combination on the striped background. Then for my second color combination, I'm using Spun Sugar and Kitsch Flamingo. And again, use the same one for the stripe. And for the background, I use the Simple Stripes Diagonal from Fawn. I really love those stripe dies because they just make for an easy and super pretty background for any card. Again, just added a little bit of the Kitsch Flamingo at the bottom of the letters. And that was still a little bit too light for what I wanted, so I just added more of the Kitsch Flamingo because the edge was just a little bit too harsh. And then I added some picked raspberry just at the very bottom of the letters. And then I blended that out with more of the Kitsch Flamingo so that it's not too bright pink. And I like that a lot better. And for my third combination, I'm using Tattered Rose and Saltwater Taffy. I wanted to use the bunnies, and I like coloring those in more of a warm brown shade. So I decided to make like a peach colored combination because I also like peach with teal just as well as pink. So to have a little bit of a different combo, I use those. I ink blended every second strip of cardstock with the colors, or with the teal and the pink. And then I used Post-it tape just to keep the order of the strips so that I wouldn't have to fiddle around with how they matched up. And now I'm just adding them to a card base using tape runner, just alternating white and ink blended, and I did the same for all 3 cards. And these really came together super quickly. All in all, I think it took me about an hour, maybe an hour and a half for 3 cards. And for me, this is like record time. And the little piece up top. Then I'm layering my die cuts. I always like to layer all of my die cuts, be it the individual letters or the big die cuts, because I just think the dimension just makes them stand out more. So I layered 2 white ones and the ink blended one. I wanted to add a little bit of color to the speech bubbles, a little bit of definition, but I wanted it to match the card, so I decided to go with teal shades. I'm using BG11 and just using them around the corners for a little bit of color. Then I'm blending that out with BG10. And that wasn't quite like dark or deep enough, so I'm bringing in BG13, and I like that color much better. Just adding them around the top edge and around the bottom. Blending that out again with BG11, just so that there's a nice and smooth transition. And then I'm blending that out with BG quadruple zero. That's a hard word to pronounce. Just making sure that the transitions is nice and smooth. And for my heart, I'm using RV52 and RV55. For the mice and the cats, I'm using cool grays. I'm using C7, C5, C3, and for the cheeks, I'm using RV52. And for the mice, I just omitted the C7 and just used C1, C3, and C5 with the same color on the cheeks. And I'm just coloring the cats all differently. I'm adding some markings to one of the cats. The other one I'm coloring like a dark gray or almost black. One I'm leaving white and the others just so that there's a little bit of variation in my critters. And I think it just makes them look so cute. I always kept forgetting to color in the tails as well, so I just had to go back and add that color in as well. Then I'm using some lighter grays to add markings to the left kitty as well. C3 and C5. And I wanted the markings in the middle to be still fairly light. And again, I missed the tail first time around. And then I'm blending that out with C00. I also wanted to add some white or light gray kitties like I mentioned, so I'm using C1. Same color on the middle one. And then I'm just adding some blush on the cheeks with the RV52. C7 for the noses. And like I said, the same combo on the mice. For the bunnies, I'm using E40 markers. E41, E42, E43, E44, and RV52 for the cheeks. And again, just trying to get a little bit of color variation. Some have the E44, others don't, so that you have some darker, some lighter bunnies to make the little row of critters look interesting. I just think these are so cute, and oh my god, those sentiments just crack me up. Your Gouda one for the mice is just so funny. Have a mice day. So cute. And for the kitties, have a happy birthday. You're irresistible. I just love Fawn with their bunny sentiments. It's just so adorable. Just using the E41 to bring it all together. And now it's already time to assemble the cards. I'm adding liquid glue to the back of the giant happy birthday. And I'm just placing that in the top part or the upper part of the card base. I added foam squares to the back of the images, to the little speech bubbles as well as the critters. And I I pressed those down, but I actually ended up removing the speech bubbles again for this part. I added a generous amount of Nouveau Crystal glaze. A generous amount being that there's plenty on there, but not enough to run down the letters. I try to be careful to avoid that because it always looks kind of messy. But I added all over the crystal glaze, oh my god, words, all over the letters. And then I'm adding some extra sparkle because I can never have too much sparkle on a card. And I'm using the Lawn Fawn Prisma glitter as well as the chunky glitter, and I'm just sprinkling that over top of the wet crystal glaze. And then the hardest part, leaving all the glitter on there and letting them dry. I let them dry overnight because the layer of crystal glaze was pretty thick, and then I just tapped the cards on the back and the glitter came off just like that, except on the crystal glaze, and I just love how that turned out. I added some Stardust stickles on the little hearts, and there you can see the beautiful glitter and shine on the sentiment, and in person it's so sparkly, it's insane. If you haven't tried this yet, you have to. It's so, so pretty. I just love this little trio of cards. And usually I'm absolutely partial to the Lawn Fawn mice, as you may know. But for this one, I actually love the kitty card the most. That one is definitely my favorite. That's why I put it in the center. I really, really hope you enjoyed this one. Please let me know which one is your favorite. and I hope we'll see you again next time. Until then, have an amazing day. Bye!